in a position to be able to walk into playoffs. And with Saigon already down 2 games in the split, far more important, SBTC Esports wants to make it happen as well. Oh. And we do end up, it is going to be the Camille support for Paulette. Hail of Blades. Camille support.
Camille support.
Wow.
What?
Okay. What a call coming out here from SBTC Esports. And gotta give some props to Colette pulling a Taki against Taki. It's a bold maneuver, Cotton. We'll have to see how it works out for him.
Yeah, this is insane. I see this. Look, I mean, this is gonna either go 10-0 or 0-10. I see no other future for this. Hail of Blades, Camille support. I'm flabbergasted. I don't know what else to say about that. So I'm going to look elsewhere and look towards DO1. He was a menace in 2020 on this Tristana, and now he has to play against Froggy's Annie. Annie can definitely do a lot of heavy trading level 1, and we'll be building towards that roller most likely, so should be safe in all-in potentials, and, you know, with the nature of her new E, can reflect a decent chunk of damage back at DO1 when he tries to go for these poke trades. But I do think DO1 should be able to have that great control over the mid lane and be able to influence the other sides of the map. We're just watching this, seeing if this can work. Waiting for that level 2, most definitely.
One kind of minor thing to note is that if you've got a Sejuani in the jungle, you always want to play it with melee champions. So Sejuani playing with double range bot lanes is not always super favorable. With the Hail of Blades, if Sejuani's around, you can actually stack the Sejuani passive against this bot lane a lot faster if the hook shot's not sufficient. So there's this like really weird mechanic where I'm curious if that was any of the intention behind grabbing this champion. I feel like there's other champions that could do it just as easily, if not better. Froggy, you'll be able to trade back a little bit of damage. The shield is going to be enough, and the stun as well as the auto attack range helpful to equalize that trade a little bit. Guri is here for an invade against DNK, does spot him out for just a 10th of a second, and is just going to ditch as fast as possible here to cover their bot lane on this push that they've got already.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a move from Paulette to potentially cut him off if he stayed a little too long, but all in all, just some trading back and forth, very even in these lanes. Control, as you'd expect, going to the double marksman. I'm just waiting for it to explode. I'm just holding my breath on this bot lane, because any moment the hook shot's going to come out. Level 3 now available. Paulette stepping up.
Shogun's also got level 3 now, so that means that the stand aside is going to be. That was a ton of damage. What happened to Shogun? He just disappeared from the rift, and there was nothing else to talk about. Now Taki's going to run directly at Guri. Froggy's actually coming up from behind as well. He was going to stick on Paulette. I don't think the hook shot is available. Flash is not available either. So it is going to end up being a trade given over to Taki more than anybody else. I need that replay. What happened to Shogun's help bar? He bopped the heal as well. He just disappeared.
Absolutely melted, and that's the Draven as well getting removed. So any of those early stacks have just been taken away, and so much damage. The Q just coming out 1, 2, 3, absolutely huge. I mean, great decision making from Taki, knowing that Paulette's gonna have that shield, that Hextech alternator shield or whatever it's called. That goes against AD damage and just turns straight onto Shogun. Slater rather, and kills him, and then or takes him out of the fight at least. And it's just insane. And Paulette's gone for a little wander. He's gonna take a tiki tour of Blue Side Jungle and find a fat man.
Where are we going?
That is not
now Shogun gets to collect on this one, I think. Yep. Yeah. Well, I don't know what that was, but you know what? I'm not even going to give him the benefit of the doubt. That was ridiculous. So maybe looking for wards. I think probably what it was is he was looking for wards, got wrapped around on, tried to get away, and then was just like stuck, and there was nowhere for him to go, so he just wasted a little bit of time. But it was a very strange play. The all-in at that level 1 was far more menacing. I think you could have expected it to be. In fairness, it's Callista Camille with Hail of Blades, so it's like, okay, I'm like, okay, you get powered damage, you get 3 auto attacks super fast, you get the rend as well. There's so much that goes into it. But now the bot lane equalized a little bit more because of the extra kill that just got given over to Shogun for free.
Yeah, I mean, the silver lining, I guess, for Plaid is that you did kill the Draven, so he didn't have a ton of stacks to cash in there when you gave the freebie over. But he's still going. He's on a melee support, and his instinct is, I must roam. I must be free. I do not wish to talk to this bot laner any longer. He's just going for a little walk, trying to make sure where Guri is, and Guri is paying a lot of attention to this bot lane because, I mean, this series so far has been determined by these bot lanes, just one of them blowing open, and now it's here for the party. Both junglers are here.
He sneak around that ward. They saw him come in here, right? Okay, now they definitely saw him come in here. I was like, for a second there, it looked like they weren't reacting to Guri kind of existing by any standard. DNK's here for a counter gank in case any sort of aggression comes through. Colette could try to set this up with a hook shot. Waiting to see if anything kind of breaks because they know where Guri is. Guri does not know where DNK is. DNK is up about a level right now. I think he's farmed one additional camp, soaked a little bit of this minion. Now they actually do know Slater has been taken. Flash coming through to get out of the way of DNK. That is Shogun burning the flash just to make sure there's no aggression to come through. Not much else on the tail end of this play, so just going to fall to pieces right then and right there. And a shove coming out now from the SGB ball lane.
So in the end, it fizzles out, and it's just a small victory coming out from the side of SBTC. And on the top side, Emperor's continued to sort of try and put his foot down and assert some dominance. He's only going to have a very small lead as Hosman wants revenge
trying to
for
find
the first
something.
game.
Yeah, Q is not going to tag. The Q might have been enough for the slow to actually proc because the Ghost was down. Now a Dragon is underway here for the side of SGB. They're looking. Guri's going to be able to pick it up. And now is there counterplay? Are they going to look for something on the other side? Froggy has level 6 and has enough to work with. The stun was up. Actually caught all three of them at a little bit of a choke point. No Tibbers available, actually, now that I'm looking at it. That was a solid disengage. DNK once again goes in with the flash and cannot find anything. Slowed up. Now Dia1 jumps in trying to find Shogun. Will he get the reset on this? No, he will not, and actually running directly in. Now, actually stuck in a really bad position because I don't think he has the hop.
He will have the reset.
There we go.
He should have the reset.
I don't think so. Not yet. Yeah, half health. Nothing crazy. SBTCE steps up in the jungle but cannot find anything against Saigon.
Yeah, interesting. I thought he popped the bomb fully, but it does not seem to be the case. And it has been Froggy being able to control these first roams, and Dia1 playing with so much respect, buying that early Hex Trinket, just scared of the free stuns and free damage that Froggy can trade onto him. That was a lot committed for absolutely nothing in the bot lanes though. Okay, Husband's gonna go in. It shouldn't amount to anything. But
good amount of damage on the Emperor. Yeah, good amount of damage on the Emperor. Kicked them out of the laning phase a little bit.
Okay, now Dia's on the roam. Taki doing a little bit of clearing. Could find himself in trouble.
Nothing crazy. Guri's also within range, although doesn't have a blue buff right now, so there's that. That's going to be an easy win into Shogun. Shogun just gets jumped on. Yeah, that's Shogun get too far up in the laning phase. They're not sure where DNK is. A lot of control around the Dragon Pit in terms of vision from SBTC Esports, but very little respect given over, as that's going to be the Draven shut down once again.
Yeah, great playing around the flash, but this play might continue. Oh.
Just a little bit. A lot of weight there from Guri. Nah, it was a little disastrous to say the least, but nothing gained, nothing lost in this particular play outside of the one kill, so they're happy walking away with the one assassination on a Shogun and just kind of leaving everything else to the way it is.
Yeah, and everything else pretty much is even. There's that small assist gold onto Froggy in the mid lane, but that should be counterbalanced a little bit by the CS, and yeah, Shogun's just pushed too far up, and he doesn't have that flash from that earlier bot lane play, so it's easy picking from side of SBTC. And hello, Tibbers. Join the party. We love a good Tibbers.
Actually popped a couple of times there, just that Tibbers is utilized up against Dia1. Dropped most of the health bar of Dia1, under half now. But nothing else. No Rift Herald has been taken. We're 10 minutes into the game. No Rift Herald. Paulette is also still here. Guri is here on the cover, as well as Froggy down out to the bot side as they're going to try to attempt to grab some additional plates off of this bottom lane tower, which is going to work out pretty well. Grab at least the one, get a little bit of the second one off as well, and now everybody back to their own devices, back to their own lanes. Froggy not going to miss all that much CS. Guri should be able to go back and continue this coverage, whatever he wants to do now.
Yeah, Dia been a bit slow on the push. Can't really trade the plate into towards the mid lane, and both junglers just sort of hanging around the bot lane once again. Taki stepping up.
Back to the bottom side, and another ultimate onto the Draven. Big Cask, though, is going to do quite a bit of damage. Guri not able to find the one kill. Kentucky kind of clean up on the backside of this one, because I don't think Guri's going to be able to assist. No, he will not, as that's going to be 2 kills going back over to the Kalista. Now the ultimate's going to get popped. Is Paulette going to go diving, looking for something? Paulette is going to cover Slater. Cannot quite find the angle to be able to tag onto the Kalista. Is now under the top tower. Hosbed's going to get doped by DL1 as well. Doesn't even come close to having the Meganar. The flash had to be burned by DL1 so he could get out. And now all of a sudden, SBTC Esports shoots off to the races in this game.
Yeah, can't complain. 3 kills across the map. A couple of flashes blown. Nice room from DL1 to punch the top side. And in the bot side, we just got to see Taki pushing up a little bit too far forward. And once again, Shogun punished without having that flash available. The Glacial Prison lands and they see, oh, we've got the Draven, turn, kill him instantly. It's a nice attempt as a comeback, but Taki just can't quite get it done. And then we see that permafrost stacking with the Camille, as sort of you mentioned earlier, able to secure the second.
Not to mention, a little disjoint right there was really unfortunate, because the Gragas ultimate had actually knocked Slater out of what the ultimate that had been popped by Shogun. So the Draven ultimate would have probably had the damage to kill at the end of that one. So Paulette now trying to jump away is probably going to get brought down underneath the tower. Oh, the shield protect! Oh, never mind. Okay, the hyper proc does end up getting him, which is that was way too close for comfort in my opinion. As another plate's going to get ripped off the mid lane here. Saigon Buffalo trying to trade some amount of gold back, and are able to get a little bit here, and he's going to catch the bot wave. They're not going to lose all that much, and they'll have first step at Dragon without Paulette around. They're down Vision, and they're down a member for the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, gonna probably be a comfortable Dragon for the side of SGB, though DNK is poking his head in. And on the top side, maybe a plate or two for Enper coming as well. Bit of a Tippers bounce. Annie taking a bit of a beating from Slater, it looks like. And in the end, it will actually be SBTC able to find their way into the Dragon. And we missed this, apparently. Froggy get DL1 going all in onto Froggy, and DL1 just able to walk away. And yeah, okay, this is how Paulette essentially got caught out. He went into sort of trying to assist DL1, and they turned and burned him instead. And Hyper is fun. Hyper is a good ability.
It does magic damage too, so it ignored that physical damage shield, which is kind of cool. After everything's said and done, SBTC Esports, they are the ones that actually end up grabbing the Dragon. Saigon, they kind of had first move, but they were down a number of cooldowns. They were down enough health bar, I think, on Froggy that they didn't really want to make that aggressive of a play. So they end up leaving that situation. As a few items getting completed here from Saigon Buffalo. You have the Night Harvester now done for Guri, and you actually have the Essence Reaver now done for Shogun. So you're starting to get onto a couple of your items that are going to be necessary. But for SBTC Esports, it's again Slater on this big advantage on the Kalista, and this Gwen that's just kind of been hyper farming, hyper preparing for the later stage of the game, as Emperor has just been allowed to free farm all game long.
Yeah, and we see Guri just sort of trying to struggling to keep up. He's been focused on keeping this bot lane okay, and as a result, he's fallen a bit behind the Sejuani, so not quite as comfortable in his pathing of making sure he can collect camps and cover his lanes on this ganking jungler. But now, Froggy leveling up, charging at Slater, but they're just fighting for mid lane position and ignoring this Rift Tower. It's pretty late, the tower plates have already fallen, so it's not as big a cash-in as it could have been, but there are a lot of low towers that are guaranteed to break wherever this Rift Tower goes.
Yeah, all three of SGB's outer towers are actually cracked to about a third health. I think any of them would die to a single charge relatively easily. In fact, Emperor just pulled first tower. I believe that's solo off the back of just pressuring consistently. Hosbed roaming a little bit. It's a couple of things. As Paulette finds a good angle on the opposite side, Hosbed's going to take a bunch of damage, not going to be able to gnaw her out, and it's just going to die on the top side of the map here. This doesn't bode well. Now you've got Paulette roaming. Now you've got Rift Herald pressure. Now you've got towers falling. Saigon Buffalo.
Yep. You have a 2-kill first tower blood Gwen on the side lane. She is fully happy. She's raced to her mythic item, and she's well on her way to getting second items. She has been fed, and this will be a menace in the back line. And this Draven has a kill, but it was a very meager cash-in. It didn't really count because it came just after a death. and he's been punished. He's been taken out 3 times, so hasn't not been doing well. He's got less than 100 stacks right at the moment, and he is just falling further and further behind. And we're starting to see, and this Camille support, it was a big question mark, but it is working out extremely well. 4 kills in the bot side overall, and it's died a little bit, but one of those was an absolute gimme as he went for a stroll under the enemy turrets. So yeah, it's going quite well, and the side lane pressure from SBTC is just non-stop. Hold that, the fight not gonna actually come out, but Paulette got a little bit excited.
Nothing's sticking right there. Yeah, Paulette is just like, he's always ready with the hook shot. I was surprised that Shogun wasn't able to disrupt him with the stand aside. It seems like Shogun's not super familiar with the interaction that you can potentially cancel it. Not necessarily the hook shot portion, but the second portion of the jump in. That if you hit them, they're just knocked out of it and then they're stuck in place, which might have led to more auto attacks, a bit more of a commitment from Saigon Buffalo. Still haven't seen that one actually get used up to its fullest here for the Draven. And now, I mean, SBTCE, how do you not feel good if you're them, right? You're Callista, so you're controlling neutral objectives really effectively. You've got the Rend alongside the Smite. You've got this Gwen, who's an amazing team fighter. Emperor's one of the better team fighters out of a top lane carry position that we have inside of the VCS. Like, you're in a great position inside of this game. And Saigon Buffalo, once again, has just fallen to the wayside without much of a fight.
Yep, and furthermore, this time around, compared to Game 1, they have a Tristana, so their siege is actually really strong right now. Mm-hmm. They're not quite struggling with being able to hit turrets and push waves. And side lane, this 1-3-1 has worked out fantastically so far. Emperor is just crashing onto that second top tier tower now.
Goodness gracious.
And they can just pull SGB around the map and have full control over this bot lane pit. That's how it just falls on the top side. Someone's going to have to go respond eventually. It's going to be Husmed now. But then that just opens up tier 1 to go bot lane and hard shove that one. And this dragon does now belong to SGB in terms of positioning. But I think SBTC are more than happy to fight that out now the Rift Herald has dropped and is going for that mid lane.
Interesting. You actually had a number of things kind of happen right there because there's a TP from Emperor trying to find maybe a play onto the mid lane. They're looking to try to pressure down this tower with the Rift Herald. They will crack on the Rift Herald charge. So that is another tower going down for the side of SBTC Esports. Froggy finds a stun onto a level 8 Paulette and barely does any damage. As now it's the dragon that they're looking for, and it's easy enough. Once again, with not only Camille true damage, you've also got the Rend stacks coming through from Callista. It's really simple to just take neutral objectives. There's very little that Saigon Buffalo can actually do to even contest a fight. They're going to drop Tibbers. They're going to find a kill immediately. Now Paulette tries to separate everybody. He's going to go down as well. Emperor on the front end of this fight trying to get some damage down. Is not going to be able to kind of get anything else to run for their life. Shogun trying to find some additional damage. That's one down. Hosmed is also going to fall at the front end of this fight as Dia1 starting to get some reset coming through. DNK is getting up with 1. Guri is on the front line trying to find Dia1, but doesn't have the damage. This is a 3-for-3 so far. Taki and Froggy still alive.
This is angry.
It's going to be a flash auto from Taki who cleans up the fight. And now DNK on the back end against 2 squishies. Can the Sejuani get it done? Are they going to have the CC? They're going to be able to CC up DNK to the ends of the earth. And Saigon Buffalo with their Annie and support Jin end up cleaning the remainder of the fight, 5 members down in exchange for that dragon. What a play.
In the end, SGB, they just fought dirty. They deleted Slater instantly and they brought a 6th man to the fight. Hello Tibbers just comes in and is doing so much work in this fight. Man, that's just nothing Paulette can do. He tries to get his team out, but Emperor sees the angle with DNK. Those ultimates do a good chunk of damage to SGB, but in the end, Tibbers gets angry and Tibbers can just chase Dia1 down under tower. Lets Taki finish it off with a flash kill, and then, hey, they can do the same thing for DNK. He tries to escape, but send in the bear to tank up the tower and just slowly whittle him down. He's only a jungle Sejuani. He's not very tanky.
The game was beginning to spiral there for a minute for Saigon Buffalo. It looked like SBTCE was heading towards another win, and yet out of what seems like nowhere, Saigon Buffalo finds a good fight with all of this AoE damage that they've got. And now look, Froggy's getting close to Rabadon's completion. I've seen this a couple of times today now where Rabadon's is the second item alongside Rod of Ages, and it's just a ridiculous amount of pure magic damage. Although against the number of people with Magicus, because you've now got like, you got Maw Malmorius, you've got Wit's End, like people are prepared for this, so I'm a little upset that this was still the standard build for Froggy instead of going for like Void or Shadow Flame even, something like that. But one way or another, you're going to be hitting like a nuke once that Rabadon's is completed. So that's where maybe the Annie is going to start to be able to create fights. As the Baron is started up by Slater and by DNK, they have full vision of this. They understand that it is coming. Slater just barely doesn't get hit by that shot. They're going to turn off of it immediately, try to look for Guri to the best of their abilities. Has the ultimate thrown, has wasted it. That's going to be the pullback. They're going to look for Guri again. Paulette isn't able to get it, but they are able to find the kill on the back end, as that's going to be Slater grabbing that up. Hosmed just running out of Meganar as well. Might Sport restarted the Baron here now.
Yeah, and the whole time, DO1 has been left alone on the sideline. That was essentially...
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to necessarily say a 4v5, because SGB weren't actually responding in a manner of actually trying to fight, but they are down 5,000 gold. They've lost their jungler. I think the play for SGB is just to bully through mid and try and take some tower with the bounty.
Big fight potential if Froggy can actually get in with the bear. They're going to find a stun directly onto one. On the right side of the fight, Emperor is here trying to fight out Taki, who has this massive shutdown. They've got to keep Taki alive. It's not going to happen, but they do get a shutdown now for Shogun, who can maybe pop off onto Dia1. Not enough auto attacks, and Slater is the one that actually gets there in time. Hosmed not able to find the damage either, as Guri comes in to try to help out Slater, try to keep alive Annie. They're going to be able to put out damage, but they just don't have it, as Hosmed as well is trying to run down a couple of remaining members. Paulette is going to be able to hook shot away, as now across the board, Saigon Buffalo just gets scattered to the wind, lost the Baron buff, and has nothing remaining. DNK is looking for something. Can Hosmed clean his way out of the situation? Because there are low members. They have potential. It's not going to happen. The jump away is not going to get him anything. Guri doesn't have the damage. He can't kill Dia1. The Maw was able to protect him, and now Guri's just going to die on the back end of this one. Does he have the health? He does not have the health. He's just going to go down to that, and that is Saigon Buffalo trying to fight their way out of trouble, and instead losing the game nearly off the back of it.
And with that, there's a minute until Dragon. It is going to be a lot of control for the side of SBTC. They can play off these lanes beautifully, and it starts off with this. The solo lane is just tearing the backline apart. Shogun is able to cash in on Emperor, and that will help a lot as time goes on, but Slater is able to just run past Hosmed, because Hosmed didn't have his mega form. He was not really a true champion, and then Slater's essentially able to 1v2 on the backline. Guri has no damage really at this point, and he'd already dealt with Annie. And then from here, Dia1 picked up his red buff, and they just ran to cut off Hosmed. It just cut him down, and from there, yeah, they're just trying to catch anything, but Guri's just not able to get through the more Malmortius, and then red buff plus satchel charge just runs him down and lets him walk away to explode.
Way too simple. It feels like overextensions in a couple of places, and nice diving actually coming in. A lot of members on the side of SBTC Esports are really crazy threats against Saigon Buffalo's composition. You saw Slater kind of go sicko mode is what I'll call it in the midst of that fight, being able to kind of bounce to the back and do anything he wants into the back line, and nobody really can test him. One thing that did happen, Infinity Edge did get completed for Shogun here, so the Draven on a one or two lucky crates could legitimately one or two shot a handful of members on this SBTC composition. Perhaps that's a bit of copium, as they're currently defending their base against the Baron buff push that SBTC has leveled out. Not to mention Infernal Soul once again, and Infernal Dragon 2 is going to be in the pockets of SBTC. They're on their third dragon of the game. It is all too easy for them to play this one out until that mark and try to play for the Infernal Soul.
But you're talking about the Infinity Edge on Shogun, but across the way, Emperor has picked up 3 items, and that 3-item Gwen is a win condition in itself. And it's going to be bolstered by DNK, who has not gone for the silly bargain basement Warmogs. He has gone straight in for maximum team fight potential, picking up that Radiant Virtue, wants to keep Slater, Dia, and Emperor alive as they go all in on SGB. And that, so far, has worked out very well for them. And I'm very happy to see a Sejuani actually build to be a tanky pig themselves, rather than just, oh, I'm going to take a little bit of damage and try my best to run away to heal it up. Because in a composition like this, that's exactly what they need, and I see too many Sejuanis just autopilot to the Warmugs.
Something that I'm noticing also is that SBTC, when they're finding these fights, they're always getting good angles. In that last one, it was a solid angle from Emperor, who was able to get like this big flank off in the same way that like Camille can jump over walls, Dia1 can jump into positions that are unexpected. And so Saigon Buffalo isn't really fighting in a line like they kind of want. You want to be able to like dump abilities from Froggy onto somebody. Shogun wants to be able to auto attack single members at a time. Taki would really appreciate that as well, I think. But SBTC is not giving them that option, never clustering, never giving them a chance to really focus down individual targets without any other kind of recompense coming through. And so SBTC tactically just advance in every single way. Big knockback in the rest of the team. Slater's going to go down to Annie, as that's going to be a big pickup for Froggy. A solid shutdown that should give quite a bit of gold over to one of the bigger mages. Now, Guri and Hosmed getting jumped on by DNK. Will there be more? Guri is just getting absolutely wrecked by Emperor. This is where I want to see Shogun go crazy, though, because he's got the damage to potentially run this fight.
Oh,
no, on the back line, trying to be going into Shogun as well. Who's going to push him back. Froggy now is the only one left, and everybody has just died on Saigon Buffalo. I don't know how it happened, but in the end, Dia1 is the one that's kind of clutching up everything, comes in on the backside of the fight, and cleans nearly everything off the map. They don't have the wave right now, but that's all they're waiting for to try to close out this game. Mobby, I think SBTC has taken this one.
Yeah, they commit everything to kill Slater, but there are so many more carries left alive. Emperor is able to basically solo out Hosmed and Guri, and then when Shogun steps up to do something, a Dia1 comes and Goomba stomps him on the head. And now that's it. That's SGB going to go 0-3.
Yeah.
And such a disastrous start for our former world representative.